Good morning and welcome to Basement Chronicles Live. My name is Lisa Dublin. The topic this morning is why the leaders quit right before it starts working. And so you might either be that leader, either in a team, in an organization, or be that entrepreneur or even professional who leads yourself. Yes, yourself. And you are quitting right before it starts working. We're going to examine all of the things this morning. So, what about let's begin with this kind of leader? Are you ready? The new strategy every quarter leader. You know, they roll out something and then they advertise it and communicate it once or twice. Then, because there's no immediate uptake, how is it? It is quietly shelved, right? And then you find that there's a new direction the next quarter. I think what leaders like this don't understand is the reason that things don't seem to be working at that point is because trust has not formed yet within the team. The system has not been stabilized and people are still adjusting. So you can't be that leader who just rolls out a strategy every quarter because here's what you're doing when you do that. You think you're chasing effectiveness and you're chasing the win. But what's really happening is that people begin to resist that whiplash effect. Teams stop taking new initiatives seriously. They actually do. And you know what? There are some very cynical people in teams, in organizations, when they see this whiplash effect that we get a new strategy every single quarter, they just wait it out. Nobody's putting out any effort. Nobody's buying into the new initiative because they're just waiting it out. So you don't want to be that leader who quits right before it starts working. I think when you realize why it is things are not working, that the system needs to stabilize, you need to build trust, you need to bring the team together, then you can wait it out. The one thing you're going to realize through everything that I say today is, I think, an underlying philosophy for me, and it is this: play the long game. That's what life is about. Life is about that kind of determination, about digging in, about finding a way to make it work and not just abandoning ship right at that time that it does. Right. Hi, Tommy. Good morning. Welcome. So I need you to talk back to me this morning. Did I say my name? I'm not sure if I did, but I am Lisa Dublin, a certified life coach, a speaker, and the founder of the amazing, powerful, effective program called Speak with Confidence. We're about to go into our 10th cohort virtually and our second cohort here in Canada. So, if you want in, there's still one or two spots available, especially in the Canadian cohort. So please just get in touch and we can get you signed up. So let's move on to the next kind of leader who simply just disappears and quits right before it starts working. What about that professional? And I see it all the time. I coach some of these people. They come after they've tried what I'm talking about. And then they come and I teach them consistency, to play the long game, to put things in place that you don't burn out because you're not checking the wrong deliverables and the wrong markers. This is the professional who abandons visibility too early. So 2026 has started, and you are that professional. You've decided, you know what? I'm coming out this year. I'm going to speak up in meetings. Is that you? I'm going to speak up in meetings. What else? I'm going to be that person who, just makes my voice heard. I'm going to contribute more. Then you're met with silence. Perhaps something you say doesn't land and somebody pulls you up for it. Why is it somebody like that just simply goes back into their shell? It's like it's not working. You got a lash, you got hit, and you go right back into your shell. But if you look at visibility as a journey, you will know that you've got to continue interfacing, communicating, contributing, because visibility compounds. That is the only way that you're actually going to break through the surface and become known as the person of value, the person people can turn to for answers. People, because you begin to consistently contribute, consistently give value, then they're going to recognize you for that consistency. That's how the brilliance comes out. But if you just just fly by night person. You're just proving what everybody thought all along. This person just had one answer for this. This person cannot be applied to any other situation. So you have to keep on going if you are that professional. And we deal a lot with it in all the worlds of stage. How do you sustain visibility? How do you make it okay to be out there all the time? Let me give you a joke, right? So I have one of my dear uncles is also on Facebook, and so I don't know that he has many people on Facebook. So every time he opens his Facebook account, I just pop up, as I perhaps do for many people. So my uncle says to me, "You're always online. Every time I open my Facebook account, you're always online." But it's because I understand what visibility does. It compounds, and that's what I teach people. Play that long game. I've been doing social media marketing and entrepreneurship since the pandemic. This is 6 years in, and yes, I've dipped sometimes and just had the normal ebbs and flow, but there's an underlying strategy and understanding that visibility compounds, but that only happens if you stay visible. So you can't be that person who just quits. You get a little hit. No, it's interface. Sometimes, like if I write posts and I get pushback, I do feel it. So I know how people can feel like that. It's like you want everything to just be in harmony, but it's not. If it's conversation and you're dealing with people, there's going to be friction sometimes, and that is all part of the journey. And frankly, sometimes the friction, it makes you better. So you cannot afford to just give up right before it starts working. That is the kind of leader, the other kind of leader that we are talking about. What about the manager who leaves before the culture shifts? Now, the other thing I want to tell you is when we get to the end, I have like 5 points, right? And when we get to the end of this point, of these points, we're going to talk about what do you do, or when do you know when it is good to jump ship? Because it's not always going to be a case of let me stay visible, let me keep on going and pushing and not quitting. There are times when, yes, you do need to jump ship, but not nearly as much as people think. Are you guys hearing me okay? I hope everybody's hearing me okay. All right. And please contribute to the conversation wherever you're listening to me at. It could be LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, my Basement Chronicles channel on YouTube. So here's the other person, the manager who leaves before the culture shifts. That person gets pushed back because they're trying to change the way of being in a community, in an organization. That is hard. Okay. You need to, first of all, know what you're doing. You need to get buy in, and you need to dig in for the long haul, because culture was not formed, a company culture was not formed in 1 year. It's not going to change in 1 year. And the way that you go about doing it, whether you get people on board or not, whether you are checking and kind of marking the right determinators of success, I believe is what has staying power or not. Okay, it's not even a matter of basically are people getting it, are people slowly turning the way that they do. I remember working with a CEO one time who was trying to change the culture of not being on time in his company. And we strategized together. Yeah, this was within my All the World's a Stage program. We strategized together about how to go about doing it. And he was a very hands-on, kind of CEO. So he'd have meetings, regular meetings, not just with the managers, but also line staff knew that he had an open door policy. And so speaking one-on-one with employees, also speaking and, like selling the idea to all of the managers. Then by the time they introduced the biometrics at the front door of the offices, it was okay, and people started getting to work before time. And that took a couple months and a couple attempts to change the culture of that company from coming in at any time to being a company that was disciplined, whose employees came in even before time and was settled and ready to begin work right at the hour. It's possible to change the culture. But we have some managers who jump ship before. You see a dip, it's not working, and you interpret resistance as failure. Sometimes resistance is a sign that things are working. Why do I say that? Because if nobody's taking you on, nobody's even trying it out. Think about it. If nobody's even taking on the initiatives, as in the first instance, where people are just waiting for the next shoe to drop, the next initiative to just wave by, and they're not buying into it, there's no resistance. But if people are trying to grapple with the new system, the new culture, the new guidelines, etc., it means that they're trying it out. And so sometimes the resistance is literally them working out how to make it work. So you can't, as the manager, the CEO, the leader, you can't jump ship, dig in. Find out what's wrong, what's not working, how can we make it better? But by all means, if you believe and the company believes that this is the way to go, then we find ways to make it work as opposed to simply leaving before the culture shifts. So the thing is that you challenge old habits and the system will need recalibrating, and that will take time. So, right now, here's another one, and this one perhaps is one of my favorite. I lament it a lot because I see a lot of my colleagues in, the entrepreneurial space doing this. The entrepreneur who rebrands instead of refining. I know a couple people, I see a couple people who every few months perhaps they come out with a new tagline, and I know it's all a journey for so many of us in this space. Everybody's on a journey trying to find their thing, your one thing. Like, I'm so big on that, you guys, dialing even more into it this year in 2026. And I know it takes time, but there's a difference between refining what your fire is and simply jumping from thing to thing. I was thinking about this topic, this brand of leader who quits right before things start working. The entrepreneur who rebrands instead of refining is usually because that person is leading from the outside in instead of from the inside out. What do I mean by that? And it's a difference between finding your fire and refining it to suit the conditions, to suit the audience, or to be the person who's like, you know what, today I am the Madam CEO, or I am, I don't know, give me the mompreneur. That's your tagline on social media, on LinkedIn, for example, and that's who you want to coach all of a sudden. And you tried out for 6 months and it's not working, and you're like, you know what, okay, nobody's buying this, nobody wants this. You know what other part of myself can I offer the public? Okay, you know what, I would be the person who, I don't even know, like, I'm going to be so funny, right? This is my, oh geez, no, let me not take this. I'm going to be the person who's selling cocoa butter. Here I go, showing off what's on my table. I'm going to be the person who is a cocoa butter fan. Okay, I'm going to be selling Palmer's cocoa butter all of a sudden because I like it, because I'm a good advocate for it, etc. And you live from the outside in according to the dictates of what's around you, as opposed to what is your fire? Where do you make sense? Maybe it might be a matter of refining yourself, refining the fire instead of rebranding everything that you do. And don't get me wrong, we'll come to, when you actually need to just pivot into something else, etc. But here's the thing. Many business owners change their message, change the offer, change their positioning repeatedly because growth is slower than expected. And what's actually happening, you don't realize that you shouldn't be doing this, because here's what's really happening. The market is learning to trust you, and you give up before that trust is cemented. I think the last week or so, I had I just had one of the highest compliments paid to me, and it was testament to that consistency. I was doing a consult for Speak with Confidence, and this lady said to me, "Nobody's doing what you do." That meant something. It means I've finally broken through the noise for her. That she sees me talking about tone and audience and attitude to how you speak and delivery, body language, and in her mind, I've become top of mind. You don't get there as an entrepreneur, as a leader in the business world. You don't get there by flitting, by being the magpie. uh, Stop working from the outside, work from the inside out, if that makes any sense. I hope I'm making sense. Let me, I got a comment on, sorry if I can't see all the comments, you guys. Keep them coming. I'll go in after and just kind of keep it going. But that is it. The entrepreneur who rebrands instead of refining. So don't let confusion seep in. If it's not working, then obviously you literally have to tweak it, refine it. But if it is the fire, the thing that you've gotten success with in the past, growth might be slower because you need to tweak certain things. But by all means, stick with it. Don't just give people whiplash. Today you're mompreneur, tomorrow you are the CEO. Like, what's going on? Right? Find the fire. And I'm not saying that as a criticism. Well, maybe I am saying it to help people because yeah, it's definitely necessary. Okay. So here's another thing. There are leaders who leave when there's a dip, right? Similar to the entrepreneur who rebrands instead of refining, okay? There will be normal dips when you're implementing things, for example, especially even in the tweaks you find you might lose some people, even when you move platforms. I remember in the whole Speak with Confidence cycle, we moved from a WhatsApp group to we had a WhatsApp group, then we disbanded because it was just getting too busy. Like, I'm very introverted, so it's all of these things, right? But now we use the school app as an implementer for a lot of the videos and so on in the program, and it's working very well. But in the process, those people who knew it working one way, you might lose them as you come along, and that's okay. So then it is, get your people together, do the marketing, the persuading, use everything that you have, to kind of bring everybody back together. But expect the dips. Expect the dips when you are trying to do something new. That's just important. So maybe you might see improvement, and then there's a plateau. And then people are like, oh, it's plateaued. We can go no further. No, then you need to go back. What was working? What has stopped? How can I keep on making it work? That's what it is. So if you quit at that point, then your breakthrough never comes through. And then you know what? Somebody else will inherit, will take it up from where you left it, and they will get the benefit and the accolades for finishing what you started. So, what are we saying here today? Some leaders just quit right before it starts working for so many reasons because they are looking at the wrong made the just the wrong deliverables. Some leaders quit because they think it's supposed to be like a an arrow just going up and up instead of the normal dips and ebbs and flow of business, of attention, of all of the things. Okay, so what I want to discuss next, you guys, this is the next topic. Okay, what if, how do you know the difference between digging in and having tenacity for a topic, for a thing that you're doing, and knowing when to quit? How do you know the difference? How do you decide, okay, this is definitely not working? It's not a matter of refinement. It's not a matter of like, I just simply need to drop this. I have got no kind of, success with this. I need to let it go. What if everybody who exits right before they start, do those things because they're thinking that it is the end? So you need to have some kind of discernment and some kind of measurement to know whether I need to quit at this point or should I keep on going. And I think there are signs. So for example, like, first of all, it's to know where you've had success. Can I say to you, like, many times when things dip, it's because we stopped doing what was working? Absolutely. There are certain things when I do in the at the marketing of my program always work. If I have a lackluster kind of advertising cycle, I get lackluster results. The program isn't full. So then it's not a matter, oh my goodness, people don't want this anymore. Go back and see what you did when you had the results that you wanted. Go back and see where you were. So even with leaders, for example, then every company has a culture. What has worked in the past? When change has been implemented, what has worked to make that change stick? When did you get the least resistance? When did you get the best results in implementing change and changing culture? So there has to be that examination of what went before by the leader before you decide to jump ship or quit or give a new team strategy every quarter. Check what is working and why perhaps it might have dipped. And that is going to give you the information that you need to plan, to refine, to know whether to jump ship or to stay. So I want to also talk to those people. I have the perfect one because it's so dear to my heart, and I coach people a lot with this. The I'm coming out, okay? You coming out, right? I'm coming out in the organization this year. And then you get a very cold email from the colleague, and the undertone is, who do you think you are? Keep quiet. Or you get another kind of email, maybe from your supervisor or your boss that says, okay, the company culture is such and such. We notice that you're speaking and we applaud it, but and you're like, I am going right back in my shell. I will find other ways for me to step out, not in this company. Me, I'm not doing this, right? Here's the thing, you have to look at visibility as relationship. You have to look at relationship as a journey. If you are serious about coming out and being known as the person of value, and this is one thing I teach in all the world's a stage. When I coach my CEOs, executives, managers in that program, it's not just about how do I come out, how do I stay out there as a person of value, a person of high credibility, a person who the top guns can see in positions of more authority, more responsibility, and obviously, more compensation, all of these things. And the way that you have to learn to take roll in the punches. You have to learn that coming out is not just you're going to get the pat on the back. You'll get it that right here. On the other side, you'll get the pushback. Who do you think you are? The threatening, people who will feel threatened by you. You're also going to get that. And you've got to be able to kind of pass through and sift through all of the reactions. Through all the sifting, however, underlying all of it, you have to know I'm playing the long game. And that means it's not always going to be to my advantage. I will have dips, I'll have ebbs and flow, but I'm here to stay. I think a good example of that, perhaps not in the office, but I was speaking to somebody the other day and she's like, oh, I really want to do speak with confidence, but I like it's not the right time. And because I'd settled in myself, I said to her, it's okay. We've been around for some time and it's going to continue. So you can join the next cohort, just like that. You can join the next cohort. Now, I said to her, I can't guarantee it's going to be at the same price, but the program is here to stay, and it's going to be continuing and getting better and improving. Okay, so it's okay. It's here to stay, and that kind of attitude, I think, is indicative of the long game. You have to be somebody who plays the long game in life, and that means okay, that means I was thinking about this analogy, and I'm like, okay, I've used it before. So in Trinidad, they say something like, when you come out like a fly by night, that you boil up and you just go right back down like bhaji. Bhaji is like spinach, I think it is. And if you're boiling or steaming spinach, like it can come up on the pot and just go all the way down. For my Canadian and North American audience, that's what it is. You don't want to be that way. I see so many people come out and declare themselves before they've even declared themselves. No, let your work declare itself. Let your work speak for you. Get some cred under your belt, and then, so that when you open your mouth, then it's just different. I was looking at this guy last night at the Grammys, Pharrell. And I followed his journey a little bit because he says some very insightful things. This man, well, he's not a young man. Like he's 52. So he's actually older than I am. He just looks like young. And he said, so when I remember reading an interview with him where he had spoken about the fact that he went after one thing and he just gave it all he got in that area of his life, the music, the beats, the something about that. Last night he said something else that was insightful. And he said, like, find the thing that you do and you'll end up working for, and it will pay you. So it's almost like you're going to work for free and get paid for it, something like that. I apologize if I've mixed it up. I will find it, but it struck me. Basically, he was saying, pursue your thing, pursue your fire, find your passion, not just in an irresponsible way, but life. And I think our heart gives clues as to where it's supposed to be in life. Find those things, follow them, and people will pay you, and you'll never be working a day in your life. So it's almost like you're not working, but you're getting paid for enjoying the work that you do. And I found that very insightful, just for us, and playing the long game. It's to not live from the outside in. It's to not pander to, I'm going to be changing every couple months because it doesn't seem to be working. Why isn't it working? First question is, if do I even want to be doing this? Is this the best that I have to offer? What's the best me? And then to decide, how can I take this best me and find a tribe of people who need what I have? And that's how these things come together, right? So we don't want to be the leaders who simply just quit right before things start working. We don't want to be that it doesn't augur well. You don't want to be the leader who quits right before it starts working. You want to be that person who has tenacity. And it's not being foolish with being tenacious, with grit. It's not being foolish. Because, for example, if you're in a couple months and it's not working, then you have to look at why it's not working. Maybe it was working before and it's not now. And as I said, usually from my own experience, that usually happens when you stop doing what was working. Check it. Maybe the times have changed. I know from COVID to now, audience attention and needs have changed. And if you have not changed with the times and constantly be speaking to the people you serve, you will miss it. And then you will be going blind. Okay, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm showing up. You keep on showing up the same way when the audience is no longer watching. So you have to adjust, but by all means, stop doing the whiplash thing because people see it and people are confused. I wish for everybody listening that you find your thing, that you gift the world with something. This guy who formed the Salvation Army, there's this quote that he said something that I always have in the back of my mind. He said, "I'm thinking up something that when I have done it, it will bless the whole world." I'm thinking up something that when I've done it, it will bless the whole world. Okay, I chopped up that to you guys. But basically, like, he was so dialed in on, the Salvation Army movement. He saw it as something that was going to be so good, not just for him, but for the whole world. And my question to you is, what is your thing and how are you going to bless the world? I think my blessing to the world is speak with confidence. It's not just about learning, how to do the mechanics of speaking. It's also about having voice. I watched a movie some time ago, and I think, got this righteous anger about speak with confidence and girls in particular. It was 12 Strong I watched, and it was back. It was during I forgot which war, 1990s war or something, and showing scenes in Afghanistan with the Taliban where girls over 8 could not go to school. And you should see me. I was there folding, doing folding laundry, and I'm like, no way. Like go really righteous and really radical in my own little space. As long as I have voice, I will teach girls to have voice. Because the same God who made the males made the females, and he gave you a mind just like everybody else. You should speak up. There's a way that we do it. There's a way that we garner influence. But by all means, speak up. By all means, find a way to let your voice be heard. This, oh gosh, like what time is it? Well, I'm always listening and taking in stuff, right? As listening to this morning, there was a clip on I-95 in from Trinidad. I love listening to that. I've been listening for years. And one of the questions was, because of a clip, somebody got killed by the police, and that the person's friends. Okay, it's a young couple. One got killed, and the wife might be paralyzed, and her friends came out. And it's a set of young people. You can hear the youth in their voices, and they said they were from Bishop Anstey High School, and they're like, these girls went in on the government. Um, Talk about voice. I was like, okay, the tides have turned. Okay, it's no longer the same season right now. These young people have voice, and they are using it. So they were protesting outside Parliament, not sure when, maybe a couple days ago, and their voices were strident and clear and effective. And I was like, this has to be what Speak with Confidence does, to give voice, not in an antagonistic way, but to gently help people insist on being yourself, because you have every right to do it. I'm not even sure how we ended here, except perhaps to say to you, maybe you should join the Speak with Confidence program. It's a place where you learn voice, and you learn how to show up effectively. That's what we do. We're about to start. We start on February 10th. That's next week, Tuesday. I started interfacing, putting everybody together and getting ready for the cohort. So if you want in, by all means, DM me and let's see what's possible. We don't have much space in the Canada group anymore. So you can also go on the wait list, because this program is here to stay. I can't guarantee it's going to be at the same price, but it's here to stay, and it will get better with every cohort. That is a promise. So thank you for listening. And what is your takeaway for today? The takeaway should be, don't be the leader who quits right before it starts. Be that person who digs in, because understand like how it looks to other people. That whiplash, people resist whiplash. Okay? Clarity comes from consistency, not constant reinvention. And you know what? And here's the last thing. I didn't elaborate on it, but it sure is a great point. The hardest season to stay in is the one right before traction. The hardest season to stay in is the one right before traction, because it gets boring, because there might be a dip, because it just feels just like what exactly is going. And that is when you need to dig in and just keep on doing and doing what you were doing until you see the light. So thank you for watching. And I'm going to see you next week, Monday, where we look at like another topic, right? I wanted to, I'm looking at life from a 5D kind of framework right now. Divine in the middle. And for me, like I've been literally been living this in different waves, and obviously ebbs and flows. But basically, having desire, it's one thing I teach and I love to tell people about. Have desire for life, design the life you want, be disciplined about going after it, and dig in, have determination even when it gets hard. And in the middle of all of this, and it's like the thing that underpins it is the divine. Like how you were made for a purpose. Somebody made you. If you tap into who made you, then you have a blueprint of how to make the rest of the 4Ds make sense in life. How to have desire, the right ones, the ones that hit you differently and don't hit anybody, but this is what you want and you're going after it. And then we have the design of it, that it's possible in your head to imagine the life you want and to make it happen. You don't have to live like, for example, you guys, today, unfortunately, Many of my colleagues, many people right here in Edmonton, in Alberta, are returning to work full time. We were talking about it, and for some people, it's going to be a little traumatic. You've been home for the last couple years, even, and now the government, 12,000 people are expected to return to the office full time today. Is that the life you want? And if it isn't, you're not going to jump ship right now and be like, I'm not going to the office. No, you're going to do what something like what I did the last couple years, like pivot slowly. Pivot means I stay on one leg and then I do the 360 or something like that. That's what I heard. I don't play basketball, my sons do, and that's where I got the concept from. But you want to pivot. So you want to plan for it. You want to design the life you want. And even while you're doing the 9 to 5, and that's an investment in itself that we're grateful for, you plan for the life you want. And then there's the discipline part of it. I would not have gotten anywhere and still, in areas that I don't succeed, it's because I don't have discipline, and that's what I'm working on. Think about it. Wherever you have discipline, you will succeed, because discipline builds consistency. Discipline equals freedom. That's one of my favorite books, from Jocko Willink. And lastly, determination is even when things look awry, it's separate. Determination is an attitude that's separate from desire, separate from discipline, separate from design. Determination is digging in, having grit and grind. Determination is I will find a way, but I'm getting to the finish line. Did I just do a rhyme? Thank you. Thank you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. So that is how, like, the topics that we're going to address, right? These topics will be on some of these ones: discipline, desire, design, all of the things. So I hope you join me every Monday at this time. So on I also go live on IG. It's random, but it's weekly. So the way that you can find me on IG at Lisa M Dublin, go find me there. I really should put it here at Lisa M Dublin. I think it is. I just put it in the in right here. So go find me on IG. Please follow me there so you get the notifications when I go live. And there I take whatever the topic is. Like, we're going to examine this week, looking at this topic just from the personal divine perspective, more stories, that kind of thing. So if you want that perspective as well, and let your hair down or what kind of thing, follow me there on IG at Lisa M Dublin, because we'll take this topic, why you should not quit, and that then we go into topics of hope and faith and not giving up, and stories, that show just that. Because you don't just need that tenacity, and you don't just need determination as a leader in the professional space. You need it in your life. How many people do we know who are succeeding? Professionally, they're 5 on 5, and in their personal lives, they've given up. They've given up on their health. They've given up on their relationships. They've given up in so many areas that absolutely matter as well. How is that success? How is that living, the mountaintop life? No, you need that determination as well, even when things are not going. And it's a matter of the tweaks, eh? It's a matter of just tweaking, going forward and tweaking. But I want to leave those personal stories for Instagram. So go follow me over there. I'll probably go live. If not today, we might do it sometime this week. I promise. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. Enjoy the replay. If you're watching on the replay, please type replay and let me know what